faces. Wonderful. So yes, if it is possible, if you are able to turn on your video camera, that would be awesome. As a teacher, I'm very sad when I only see black boxes. It makes me really happy when I can see some beautiful smiling faces. And I don't have to keep saying, "Are you there? Can you hear me?" Right? Start to feel like a crazy person. So thank you so much for joining today. You know, it's crazy times in the middle of lockdown. You could be sleeping, you could be having a late breakfast, but you're here. So thank you for that. Oh, look at this. So many beautiful students today. Did we make this a requirement? Only the beautiful people can come today? That's who signed up. Thank you all so much. All right. Now, as a little warm up, what I'm hoping today is not a webinar, right? So it's not just me talking and you just listening to things. I want us to be able to chat, that I will share some of the tips and tricks and I guess a lot of the misunderstandings that people have about IELTS speaking part 3. But I really want us to have a lot of speaking practice today ourselves because I don't know about how some of you maybe haven't been studying IELTS before. I know some of you have never studied it, some for more than 6 months, some for less than 6 months. Maybe you haven't studied it recently, so you could be a little out of practice maybe, but this is a good time today that we can practice together and brainstorm together. Because I'd say the speaking part 3 questions, many of my students fear these questions more than the others because it's not just about your personal life and you don't have a whole 60 seconds to prepare for an answer. So yeah, speaking part 3 can be the scariest part for many students. And I feel like today, no pressure. Wherever you are, if you are a beginner, we can make things a bit easier for you. If you are a more advanced student, no worries. I can find plenty of ways to challenge you if you need it, okay? So just keep cool and relaxed. No stress today. The way we will work it is if you need it to be a bit easier, laid back, we can do that. If you need to make it more challenging, we can definitely do that too. All right. Okay, now just while I think we still have a couple more people coming, but I would love to do a little icebreaker with you all. If you happen to have something nearby, can you look around your room? If it's possible, do you have something green and something red anywhere in your room that you could grab, if possible? If you don't have something, it's okay, but it's kind of fun to look at what people bring. All right, so I have a lime. That's my green thing today, and my Vietnam flag will be my red today. So if you don't have anything, we can just do the normal. Thank you, Win. I like that. Very creative. If you don't have anything. Oh, great. Look at Yen. That's fantastic. Very fast in finding her red and green. Don't stress. If you don't have anything, we can use our old-fashioned thumbs up or thumbs down. Either your real hand or your Zoom hand, whatever you prefer. Oh, look. Very good. I see some more green and red. Okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a statement. If it is true for you, great, Clover is ready. If it's true for you, you can either hold the green thing for yes or a thumbs up. If it is false, not true for you, you can show me a red or a thumbs down. Okay, so I'm going to make a statement. So for instance, I am a girl. If this is true for you, Is it true for you? I am a girl. I can see great. Just checking. Fantastic. Good. All right. Some people aren't answering, so maybe it's a secret. Okay. What about I am so tired of lockdown. I wish lockdown was over. Is it true for you? Good. Just checking. Just checking. All right. Oh, I got 2 greens over there. So Kim is very, very excited about this one. Okay. What about one more? I have tried something new during lockdown. Something I've never done before, never seen before, something new, anything new during lockdown. Okay, great. So many of you, fantastic. Rosie, could I ask you, can you tell us what's something new you've done during lockdown?
Hello, Miss Laurie. Hello, everyone. Let me think. What I find new to me is that I learned how to paint. Like, I'm not good at painting, so I try to watch the video clips on YouTube and then try to learn something from it. So I think it's new to me, but maybe it's not new to everyone.
That's awesome. And Rosie, can I ask you, what sort of things did you paint?
Like just the items, like adorable items, like the character of the films or movies.
Wow, that sounds really hard to me. I'm terrible at art.
Oh, really?
So I admire anyone that can do it. My drawings look like a 2-year-old had a go at it. My drawings are terrible. Okay, but that's great. That's fantastic. What about, thank you for sharing, the first brave student to share with us today. What about one more? What about Ha Tran? Could you tell us something new that you tried during lockdown?
Yeah, during the lockdown, I tried to learn language by online. This thing I have never done before. Yeah, it's kind of a bit difficult to learn language by online. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so true. Language learning is hard, I think, at the best of times, but especially right now and online. Good for you. That's wonderful.
Yes, this depends on many things, the connections. And, yeah. Sometimes it's bad. I can't hear so clearly. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I feel like there are many teachers in my apartment building. So I wonder, Wi-Fi, what's going on? Everyone's trying to use it at the same time.
Yes.
Fantastic. And can I just ask one more? Was it Clover? Did you have a something new thumbs up? I can't remember.
No, I'm not. I don't have anything new on the times lockdown.
Okay. Well then, Clover, I'm going to change the question for you then. Can you just tell me, I guess, what do you normally do to relax during lockdown? What do you like to do if you need to relax at home?
I usually reading book. I usually read book and cook some meal. Yeah.
Yes. Fantastic. And Clover, can I just ask you one more question? What would you say? What kind of books do you like? What do you like to read?
I like read a lot of kind of book. For example, I am reading *Sapiens*. Yeah, you know *Sapiens*. *Sapiens* is is a book, a brief history, humankind. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it already. I feel like I'm learning
Yeah.
Now, did you notice what we've just done here, actually? So thank you, Clover. Thank you, Ha Tran. Thank you, Rosie. Some of these are already part 1 questions in IELTS. Oh, hello to the lovely gentleman who's just arrived. Okay. Yeah, so already me asking you questions on the spot, not giving you really any chance to prepare, that is the whole, thing about what can make the speaking test for part 1 and part 3 so difficult, right? No chance to prepare, really. I just ask you a question and you shared with me. Nobody had problems answering these questions, so we're already in a good place. And I guess the thing to remember, and maybe review, some of you have been studying IELTS already, but I think it's important to remember that there are no right or wrong answers for the speaking test, which is great, but also very confusing for students, right? I think it might seem so strange when you have the the reading test, the listening test, very strict, right? It's either right or wrong, and that's it. Even if you are so close, even if your answer is so good and still great, no points. But for speaking, no right or wrong, just your opinion. So as long as you can give some reasons for your opinions, you will be okay. However, I do know that thinking of ideas for topics that you probably never think about, it's very challenging. It would be challenging for even people like me. English is my first language, but some of these questions for IELTS Part 3, you're like, really? Really? It's something, they're not normal questions that we think about a lot. So we have to be honest with ourselves that these are challenging questions, but don't worry, because there are tricks for brainstorming, things you can do to generate ideas quickly, and we're going to do some practicing today. All right, I see more lovely students coming, which is fantastic. All right, I'm just going to get ready to share my screen with you. Just one moment, please. All right. Here we go. All right, everyone, I promise this will not be death by PowerPoint or presentation here. Just a few little slides here and there, and I've created some shared resources so that after we finish today, you will be able to access the materials that we'll be using, practice questions, tips and tricks and things. So I will be sharing some links with you. We're going to use a tool to practice with today, and you'll be able to access it after we're finished as well, so you can always go back and reference it too. So yes, today's topic, we're saying the secrets unveiled for IELTS Speaking Part 3. So we're really focusing on Part 3 today. However, a lot of these things will also be relevant for Parts 1 and 2 as well. All right, but Part 3, a little bit different, a little bit tricky, but how you're scored is still the same. So we will talk about some of the differences. I also just wanted to mention, some of you wrote a question when you were registering for this workshop. So I have read all your questions and I've typed up answers to all of them. So I'm going to show you where you can access this. I kept it anonymous so nobody knows who submitted the questions, but everyone will be able to see the questions and answers that people shared before our session today. And if there are any other questions that pop up today, feel free, you can put them in our chat box anytime if you have any more questions, and I can add them to our shared resource at the end. So if you have a question, probably lots of other people have this question too. So don't be shy. There's no such thing as a bad question. All right, they're all good questions because if you have it, others will too. All right, so today we'll be focusing on mostly part 3 of the speaking test and some secrets, some math, some myths, some facts to clear things up. There are a lot of rumors about IELTS speaking part 3, and I want to clear up some of those rumors. So today's workshop, of course, we're going to talk about some of these secrets, talk about the myths and the facts. We'll just quickly have a look at the speaking test structure just to remind ourselves. Some of you will be familiar with this already, so we're not going to spend too much time on that. And just a reminder of how the test is actually scored. So people get stressed about certain things that actually aren't scored at all. So we only have to really worry about what the examiner will be scoring you on, all right? Some key areas to help you improve your score, some things, I have a checklist that you'll be able to use to help you improve your score by helping you focus on the most important things. We're going to look at some tips for brainstorming and actually try that out today in groups. And of course, I will show you some samples and give you some time to practice more part 3 questions. So we're going to do some brainstorming first, then we'll come back. We'll go through some more examples, different answers for how other people have approached the part 3 questions. And then we're going to get back in our groups again. And I've prepared a wide range of practice questions today. Some may be a bit easier for those of you that are tired, out of practice, or you just need something a bit more gentle today, no problem. But if there are any of you that you're feeling a bit more advanced and you want to challenge, don't worry. I've got some really hard questions for you too. If you want to challenge yourself, you can pick the hardest questions if you want. You can pick some easier questions. The main thing is that we get a chance to practice and share ideas with each other. So if you look at a question and you're thinking, oh, I just can't think of something, I'm sure someone in your group will be able to share their ideas. So it's a good chance for us to brainstorm and just think, if you got this question, how could you approach it? What do you think of quickly? All right. I want to start and let's find out what you are actually thinking. So I'm going to share a new screen with you. All right, just one moment here. Okay, let's see. Sorry, guys. I think I just said my building is full of teachers. So if I dip out for a second, I'll be right back. Don't worry. All right, I'm going to share a link and a screen with you just to kind of see where everyone is at so far. So let me get that ready for you. Let me get the link first. Okay. All right, I'm going to put this in our chat box. Right, see how we go there. And I'm going to share my screen with you as well. Okay, so if you are able to either click on the link in the chat box, or we have a website here. If the link is not working for you, it's called menti.com. So if you're able to do this, fantastic. All right, I'm excited. Only one sleepy, that's pretty good. Only one sleepy so far, excellent. This is pretty good. All right. Okay. I'm excited about this. This is fantastic. I couldn't ask for better, really. All right. only one hungry and one sleepy, and it's not even me that said it, so that's pretty good. All right, so most of you are happy or excited or both, and some of you are ready to practice your speaking. Hopefully the rest of you will be ready to practice soon. Fantastic. All right, we'll just wait 10 seconds, see if anyone else wants to join in. All right, I am very excited. So I'm glad to see. All right, we got 14 people contributed. Thank you, everyone. I'm excited now. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, just what you think, just to help me out here, because I know we have different levels and it's no problem if we often have workshops where we might have beginners, intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced in the same session. So just where do you feel you are at? I love watching it grow on screen. Interesting. Ooh, all right. Okay, we have some upper intermediate, intermediate, pre-intermediate, a little beginners. No problem. I have a feeling there might be some advanced people, but they don't want to call themselves advanced. Maybe that's maybe you're feeling shy and you don't want to admit maybe you are advanced, but everyone's too scared to say it. Okay, thank you, everyone. That helps me a lot. It's just good to know who is in the room, because we did ask, questions on who studied IELTS before, but it's really interesting because you might have someone who studied for a long time, but is still a beginner in English, but they might know a lot about the test, or someone who's fantastic at English, but they're new to the format of the IELTS test. So that's wonderful. Thank you all very much. All right, let me go to the next one. Just got a few more of these, and this will help me so much to see how we should pace our lesson today. Sorry, guys, let me go back here. Oops. All right, thank you for that. All right, this is free form. You can, any words that come to mind, what do you think of when someone asks you about the IELTS speaking test? What words, what adjectives come to mind? Random. That is very confusing. Yes. Great. These are fantastic. Very good. Oh, we got one interesting. That's exciting. Thank you for whoever submitted that one. Yeah, these are wonderful. I'll just wait one more moment to give people a chance. Great. These are cool. I like these very much. So the biggest words were the words said most often. So a lot of people are saying difficult, hard, scary. Ooh, more interesting. Yes, interesting got bigger. Thank you for that. Complicated. Yes, I agree. Yeah, IELTS, sometimes more complicated than it seems, sometimes less complicated than it seems, but even that is complicated, challenging, to be natural in your answer, a bit scary, difficult, outstanding ideas, speak fluently, like an interview. All right, thank you for this. This is awesome. I appreciate your feedback. Okay. This is a great team, I can tell. It's not a real quiz, just to kind of see. You can put a nickname in here just for a bit of fun. I love the characters. All right, we're almost ready to start. This is, I think we're just waiting on one more person to get in there, just to kind of see what myths and beliefs we currently have about IELTS now. All right, I think we are ready. What cute little characters we have. Okay, so don't worry. This is a common, so many of you said false, and some of you said true. That is okay. This is a very common, I guess, sort of a secret or a myth that people get nervous and think, oh, I'm not sure what the examiner asked, but I'm just going to try to do my best and answer it anyway. The danger is if you misunderstood them and you're answering a totally different question, that's going to count against you. All right, so that is a good myth to get out of the way today, but good that so many of you were ready to go with that one. All right, wonderful. Five seconds. Ooh, interesting, interesting. This is actually kind of a trick question. I think this question is actually not very fair, but I'll tell you why I put false in this. When you take the actual test, fluency counts the same as pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary. They're all 25%. So technically, they are all equal. However, if you are practicing, you are getting to be where you want to be, I would agree that fluency is, if I have to choose what I would like my students to get stronger in first, I will pick fluency every time. Because if you don't have any fluency, how can you have any grammar or vocabulary or pronunciation? You're not speaking enough for the examiner to hear what you can do. So this is kind of mean. I'm sorry about that. This is a bit of a trick question. That on the real test, you get equal score for each part. But when we're practicing, yes, I would agree that fluency is the most important one to get stronger first if you have to choose. All right, sorry about that. That was a bit mean. Just a couple more and then we'll get going. You are scored on your great ideas, your outstanding ideas for IELTS Part 3 answers. Let's have a look. This is one of the biggest secrets and biggest myths of the IELTS Part 3, and it's one of the most confusing, right? Is that actually you don't get more points for having amazing ideas. It's how you talk about it. It's your use of English. So that is the most important thing. So even if you don't think your ideas are that creative or original or amazing, that is okay. If you are able to talk about it well, if your pronunciation is good, you have good grammar, a good range of vocabulary, that is what you actually get a score for. No bonus points for creativity. All right, so that's a big myth, something we need to remind ourselves. All right, just a couple more, guys. We're almost done. Another one that it's a bit tricky. This is unfortunately the case that you might get a topic that you hope and pray that the examiner will never ask you. A lot of my students are like, I hope they don't ask me about politics or government or things like that. A lot of my students are terrified that they'll get this. But yeah, the sad news is you can't ask for a different question. You are stuck with that question. You can ask the examiner for more information if you're confused about the question, but if it's just something that you have no experience in, you know nothing about, you still have to try to answer the question the best you can. If you just say, sorry, I can't answer this, you will lose some points for that, okay? So we will talk about that there are ways to think about this. You can give any crazy answer as long as you can talk about it. It doesn't have to be a good answer. So don't worry. I always say, just try your best. Say something. Saying something better than not saying anything at all. All right. I'm glad we're going through this today. I think we've got a couple more, nearly 3 more to go, and then we'll get to it. All right. I need to use lots of idioms during my IELTS speaking test. Ooh. Well done. Okay, great. I couldn't trick you on this one. All right, this is a good thing, right? Some idioms are great, but lots and lots of idioms, no. If you used idioms all over the place, it would be very unnatural and annoying that, you know, we use them here and there, but we don't need to use them all the time. Thank goodness, because otherwise it starts to sound, yeah, a bit annoying actually. All right, we're nearly there. 2 more questions to go. I'm proud of you. I should practice answering questions on lots of different topics for the IELTS Speaking Part 3. Yeah, look, this might be a bit more subjective, but in my experience and with all the students I have taught, particularly my advanced students, that's good for everyone, the more different random, someone put random for IELTS, so that is true, that some of these questions, you just think, where did they come up with these mean questions? Because some of them really are just topics or things that normal people don't think about most of the time. So the more different questions, especially questions about topics that you feel like you don't know much about, if you are basically just getting so used to thinking of whatever comes to mind first, that's what you're going to go with. That is the best thing to do. Lots of different topics, not just the ones you feel comfortable with, because you can't control what the examiner gives you. And the more topics you can practice, I think the more confident you will feel, and that will help you. You know that you'll be able to come up with an answer. It doesn't have to be a great answer. All right, last one. Let's do it. I need to have lots of special knowledge about a question or topic to answer it well. All right. Yes, so of course, if you do have special knowledge about that topic, of course, that's a big advantage and it will help you. But you can still get a great score even if you don't know much about that topic, because you're able just to guess, speculate, give some ideas or suggestions for this topic. As long as, again, your fluency, you're able to talk about it, use some nice vocabulary, your grammar is pretty good, pronunciation, they can understand you clearly, you can still get a great score, even if you hate the topic. Never think about it. That's all good. All right. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that. That helps me a lot just to see where we are at and what sort of information people knew already or maybe were a bit confused about. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Very interesting. I've learned a lot about you. But yeah, there are some myths and things in there that people do worry about, that people stress the most about thinking of an amazing idea, but we can take the pressure off. Amazing ideas are nice, but any ideas will be okay, that we can make it work for us. All right, I'm just going to go back quickly to show you. We're just going to talk a little bit, give you a quick overview for those who need it, and talk about brainstorming. And we're going to do our first brainstorming very shortly, because I want to get us talking in our groups as quickly as possible. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen with you again. And this will go through super quickly. It's just for the benefit, because I know we have a few students who haven't studied IELTS before. Just a little reminder, those of you that have, don't worry, this won't take long. So today we are focusing on the third part of the speaking test. All right, so many of you will know that the speaking test comes in 3 parts. Okay, so let me move this down here. We've got, of course, part 1, which is supposed to relax you a bit. It's all about you, your history, your background, your family, your school, your hobbies, that sort of thing. It's supposed to be easier for you so you can get more comfortable and relaxed, because it is very nerve-wracking to speak to a stranger. All right. Part 2, that's where you get a whole minute to prepare your notes on a topic. But today we are focusing on part 3. All right, so we call this the discussion. So our focus today is on part 3, the discussion. And a lot of people are a bit confused. A lot of my students think that part 3 is just like part 1. But they usually are asking questions more about your country, the people, young people, old people, different kinds of people in general, rather than about you and your life. It doesn't mean you can't use inspiration from your life to answer the question, but they want you to speak more generally. Okay, so that's what we are focusing on today. Okay. So just a reminder, everyone, the reason why we had that question, is fluency more important than grammar? Of course, as an English teacher, I would say yes for general communication skills outside of the IELTS exam. And when you are first practicing for IELTS, I do agree that fluency is more important at the beginning to get you speaking enough that you can then go back and review and improve everything else, your vocabulary, your grammar, and your pronunciation. But in the actual score, it's all even, 25% for your fluency, your lexical resource, your vocabulary, how well you can use your grammar and your pronunciation. So technically, all the same. And just reviewing you, I do have a worksheet that I'm going to give to you that you can take, and I hope that you will use it with your speaking buddies or friends or in your future study. That will give you kind of a checklist of what you can be listening for yourself, or if you're practicing with partners. So fluency and coherence, the main things there is, of course, can you keep talking without long pauses? Short pauses, normal, but long pauses might show the examiner that you're struggling for language, that you're trying to think of what to say next. And are you clear in your ideas? Some people jump around here and there and the examiner can't follow what you are saying. Okay, your lexical resource, yes, idioms are okay, but you seem to know we don't need to overuse idioms. Collocations and paraphrasing, that's where it's at. We're going to talk more about that a bit later. And grammar, of course, using appropriate grammar. If the question is referring to something in the past, then of course they expect you to use the appropriate past tenses. And complex sentences are not actually complex. We'll look at some examples of those a bit. And of course, our pronunciation. The most important thing is whether the examiner can understand you throughout. Everyone has an accent. Everyone, I have an accent. And accents are fine because you can have quite an accent and still be easily understood, and that you don't sound like a robot. That English has a very sort of sing-songy, up and down, everything does not sound the same like this. All right, so those are the key things there. All right. So we will have a look at more collocations, but it's just a reminder, instead of being obsessed with idioms and trying to, memorize a lot of idioms, the collocations, just the simple bits of phrases in English that we use all the time that will sound natural or unnatural. So for instance, we would always say, oh, did you make a mess? Or I made a mess. You would never say in English, I do a mess, I did a mess. It just sounds strange to the ear. For some reason, we don't say make your hair, we say do your hair. I don't know why, but that's what we say. And then you've got phrases like put a look, have a look, take a look. Take a look and have a look. Quite normal, quite common, sounds natural. But if someone happens to say put a look, it sounds strange, and it's going to signal something to the examiner that something's, sounds not quite right, that you're not as familiar or as comfortable with the English there. Okay, brainstorming. This will be my favorite part here. All right, so I'm going to introduce you now to the tool that we are going to be using today. I'd love to know if any of you have used this before. I'm going to guess that many of you have. So I'm going to share my other screen here. I'm going to you, and then I'll give you the link so that you can access it. Okay. Let me get back to the beginning and I will share with you. All right, so I'm keen to know if, I'll show it to you, let me know if you have used it before with your schools or anything. So this is a Padlet that I've made for our class, our workshop today, I should say. Can I just get a thumbs up if anyone has used it before? Or a thumbs down? Okay, Rosie is familiar with the Padlet, wonderful. All right, anyone else? If you've seen it before, used it before in any of your classes or any group activities? Great, SEAMEO admin, I thought you'd be familiar with this, wonderful. All right, Kim has used it as well too. Wonderful. Okay, so no worries if you haven't used it before. It's quite easy to use. And I thought this would be a great way that I'm putting my different tips, recommendations, things for you to remember. I've put a bunch of different questions that we will practice. We can pick and choose which ones we want to do later. I've put some example responses in there if you want to see what someone else has done, but not for all of them because I want to make you work for some of them, right? But I've given you some ideas for other ones. I'm just running you through what's on here. I'll go into them in more detail after we do our first exercise. Okay, so we'll talk about these soon. There's quite a lot for you to choose from. Obviously, we won't get through them all today, but I've tried to give quite a variety of questions so that when we get to our second round of brainstorming, you'll be able to choose which ones you want to focus on. So if you want some more challenging ones, you can choose them, or if you want some easier ones, you can choose them as well. Just one thing I want to let you know in case I forget later, some of you submitted some questions for me when you registered for this workshop. I will be giving you the link to this Padlet so you can go back. So I haven't put any names in here, all anonymous, but I put all the questions and some responses from me in the Padlet. So anyone who asked a question, I have some responses here to you. If you have more questions, you can write back to me anonymously, and that's fine. Or anyone else, I'm sure that some of you would have the same questions as well. All right, I've also put some resources that you'll be able to access during this workshop and after if you need it. All right. So again, these resources are also will be different depending on your level of English. So there'll be some that are more useful for beginners and some more useful for advanced, okay? And I've put some more examples of how to extend your answer as well. So this is the Padlet that I'll be sharing with all of you shortly. You'll have access to it during the workshop and after the workshop, so you can go back and use these anytime, and you can also ask me any questions anytime as well. Okay, first brainstorm, because I know you guys are ready to talk. I can feel it. First thing I want to do is I would love all of us, we're going to get into breakout rooms, split into some small groups, and I'd like us to all start with the same topic just for this one, just to get our brainstorming exercise going. And then we'll come back, chat about it, and then we'll let you break out. We'll have a look at some more tips and recommendations that you'll be able to see and look at, and while you choose some other questions. But for round one, this is just focusing on brainstorming, thinking of some ideas as quickly as possible. So the question I want us all to focus on first is, why do people get married? Okay. You know, a lot of people maybe don't spend time thinking about this. We just accept that many people do get married, have gotten married, will get married in the future. It might be something that you want or don't want for yourself. You might already be married, I don't know. But why do people get married? This is a question that anyone can answer, even fairly quickly, believe it or not. And I know because I asked a class of 7-year-olds this question, not because I'm mean, but we were actually studying, it was in the book. The vocabulary was all about weddings, bride, groom, marriage, wedding, all these things. And I was thinking, they're 7 years old. Do they even think about this? So I asked them to tell me, why do people get married? They only had a minute or two to think about it, and they were able to give me some incredible answers. So if they can do it, I know you can do it too. And I'll show you what they said after we do our brainstorm. It's quite cute, actually, to see what kids said, and that any of their answers could be used during the IELTS test successfully. Okay, so brainstorming, for some people, this is the hardest part, is just thinking of something to say. So I'm going to refer you to, so you'll be able to have access to this link and I send you into your groups. The idea, if you can think of ideas right away, great. Any ideas. But if you get stuck, I love this exercise, is change your point of view. So if you can't think of anything, think of what someone else might say about this topic, all right? If someone asks me, why do people get married? And I'm like, I don't know what I think. I immediately think of my great grandmother. She told me, the first time you marry should be for love. If you get married again, it better be for money. That's what she told me. I thought that was hilarious. She was 99 years old when she told me this. But even though I might get stuck, you know people who would have opinions about this. So if you can't think what you would say, what would your mom say? What would grandma say? You know, what would someone else have to say about it? So I think this is a great idea. If you need to think of something quickly, think of someone else's point of view. You can steal. It's not even stealing. It's just being creative and thinking of what it would be. So let me show you what I've done here. So, for instance, if you had a question about hunting, you know, killing animals just for fun, for sports, for competition, for the thrill and excitement of it, rather than eating for food, and you think, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. I don't think about this. You know, you might think, what would a Buddhist say? What would a vegan say? Someone who is against all animal cruelty or whatever. What would a child say? Oh no, you can't shoot the elephant because it's so cute. You know, it might be something really, really simple like that. But what would a hunter say? Someone who enjoys doing this. They might say, look, it's tradition. My family have done this for years. You know, maybe we don't eat the animal, but we hang it in our house. We're very proud of what I've managed to achieve. It's very difficult to hunt these animals, and I'm proud of what I have achieved. Okay, they might say, it's just like in the Olympics. I was the first person or the fastest person to do this or that. So if you try to think of what someone else might say, someone with a strong opinion about this topic, that might give you some ideas, because you don't need to have amazing ideas. Any ideas that you're able to talk about, and you don't even have to agree with the ideas. That is something I want to stress. You need to choose whatever is going to be best for you. So you might have an opinion about something, but if you actually could talk more about the other opinion, the other side of it, you might want to talk about that. If it's easier for you to talk about, that might be the best choice for you. So you might even talk about something you disagree with just because you have more vocabulary, more examples that you could think of. All right. Another example here, should robots or computers replace teachers? If you got asked this question, you might have some ideas right away, but think, what would teachers be likely to say? or students who love their teachers, students who hate their teachers. You can imagine what they might say. They're loving this idea, thinking, yes, awesome, get rid of my teachers, right? So if you get stuck, try to think of someone you know, another point of view, who would have a strong opinion, and that can help you out. So we're going to talk about, why do people want to get married? If you can't think of any ideas, you know, what would your mom or dad say? Grandma or grandpa? A kid, what do you think a kid might say? A religious person? Someone who's very religious? Anything like that. All right, so these are just some examples. There's so many here, but I would like us to, if we can all work on the same topic, but we'll be in our breakout rooms, just brainstorming. So for this one, you don't have to say long sentences now. We're just thinking of as many ideas, short ideas. So what I would like, I'm going to give you the link now. Share it with you, and I'll put it in the chat box. Okay, so let me put it in our chat box now. Okay, so hopefully everyone can access that. So when I put you in your groups, what would be amazing, if you're able to, if you're not, it's okay, you can always just tell us later, is each room is going to have like a team, like team 1, team 2, team 3. I would love it if you added someone in your team. If you could either type some notes, or if it's too hard to type, you could just share it, let us know afterwards. So here's my one terrible note. Why do people get married? Because people love each other. Okay, is this an outstanding, amazing, creative idea? No. But it's an idea. All right, so let's get our breakout rooms organized here. But it would be great if someone in each room, each group, could just type up a few notes, things that people are saying, any reasons whatsoever. All right. Oh, I like that. They want more love. Okay, I like that. All right, let me get these rooms ready. How about, yeah, we'll do that. All right, everyone, I'm going to open our breakout rooms now. So make sure you have copied the Padlet, right? And I'm going to let you talk to each other, brainstorm some ideas, and you can add them. So we'll just take about 6 minutes for some ideas, and then we'll come back, talk about it. I'll show you some other ideas for how to, things to look out for, how to extend your answer, and then we will practice some more challenging ones, okay? So let's get together in some breakout rooms now, and I will come around and have a listen to you as well. But we just want to start with, yeah, any ideas for why do people get married? All right, let's give it a go. I will call you back in about 6 minutes. You can agree to join your breakout room. Great. So, yep. Don't worry, it's all good. Everyone will have, we have 3 or 4 people in each room. All right, most people have joined. Just a couple more people. I can't wait to see what you come up with. All right, I'm going to join room 3. All right, we're just waiting on a few more people to come back. Everyone's got 30 seconds to join us again in the main room. Room 4 is still chatting, loving it. That's fantastic. I hate to stop people from chatting, but don't worry. We will all get together and chat again very soon. All right, only one person, 15 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everyone. So I got to listen in on a few groups and got to see some fantastic things that you've been sharing. So thank you for that. I think we're doing well on a Saturday morning in the middle of COVID-19 lockdown. I think we're doing pretty well. Some of you, I think, could be IELTS examiners, right? So good at asking for more information. I love seeing that. We've got some great skills in this class, fantastic English skills. So you are already in a fantastic place. So many of you that have come here today, I can tell that you have lots of experience. So that is wonderful to see. All right, let me share quickly what I was looking at. Your fantastic ideas. Okay, I'm going to share the Padlet in just a moment here. Right. I'm going to share the Padlet and then I'm going to share what my students said because I think you will find it humorous. Okay, so thank you for those of you. So I put in some notes that I heard from different classrooms, or sorry, I should say different breakout rooms. You know, in all of these, there is not a single bad idea here. And we don't think about ideas as being, they don't have to be creative, amazing, wonderful. Any idea you can come up with, you can make work for you in this speaking test, right? In any part. I love it. So things like they want more love. They want to have a stable life with their partner. Stable and partner, great. They want to have a partner who might take care of them over their whole life. Having a baby, even it's good for our species. True, all right? Reaching a commitment, they want to mark a special moment in their lives together. Different comments about, you know, getting old and sick, having your partner or kids to take care of you, to be responsible, to not feel lonely. I love they are forced to do so. It could be true. Another good example, Vietnamese traditions. Now, you can definitely draw upon this. Anything that comes to mind, this is great. If you are able to talk about different generations and different ideas that you know, the older generation's point of view, that's fabulous. That will definitely get you to take, fill up the time that you need. They will have to ask someone help with their problems. Yeah, share difficulties. Oh, I love this. Social basic stereotypes. Yeah, great. Wow, there are some really advanced things in here. So we've got quite a wide range, but the good news is whether, even if you're, you know, we're at different levels. Some people might have a greater vocabulary at this stage. And if you have a stronger vocabulary, yes, of course, that will give you more options. But if you are still working on your vocabulary, I think it's great, you know, get your fluency, your ability to talk for extended periods in place first. Then you can go back and have a look at what you have been saying, and that will help you look at where you can add extra vocabulary. So my philosophy is always start where you are, see where you are, and that will help you to see where you need to go next. So I'm just going to have a look in the Padlet, column 1. I have many different tips here. I'm not going to tell you about all of them now because you are smart, lovely people. You can read. I'm just going to share some bits that might be helpful. So it's just a reminder to those of you, in case you missed the beginning, if you don't understand the question itself, the meaning of the question, there might be a word in the question that you're not familiar with, you absolutely 100% have the right to ask for the meaning. It's like, sorry, when you say this, do you mean blah, blah, blah? And they can confirm that for you. So you have the right to do so. You will not get points taken off if you need to ask for more information, but you will get points taken off if you don't understand the question, you end up answering a different question. Okay, so better to ask. So people often ask me, how long should my answer be? So part 3 generally longer than part 1, but not as long as part 2. Like you don't need to speak for 2 minutes after each. The whole section is only 4 to 5 minutes. So, some people have long sentences or speak faster, but generally around 4 to 5 sentences is the average, what a lot of people would do. And the examiner will ask you more. If they want more information about something, they'll ask you. Think of part 3 as more of a discussion, more so maybe than the other sections, that you'll get asked a question, you answer to the best of your ability, the examiner will ask you another question, and it'll go on like this for about 4 to 5 minutes. And just a word of warning, again, just in case anyone came a bit late today, please don't memorize your answers, right? It's stressful to do that, but the examiners are trained in working out when people have memorized answers. And if they notice that you are doing this, they're going to change it immediately. So there's no point. And yeah, if you are trying to memorize it, it's very stressful actually. So it's better to just practice so many different topics that you build your confidence and your fluency. And the more you do it, the faster you will be able to do it, to brainstorm. It may not feel like it now, but it is possible. When you do practice part 3, so I always advocate, if you can, record yourself. Go back, listen to yourself, make a note of did you use some words many times? If so, that's a clue that you can look for some alternatives, some synonyms or some paraphrasing, how you could talk about it a different way. All right, so that is always, I know no one likes to hear their own voice, I don't, but it's a good habit to get into, because sometimes when we practice or we're feeling nervous, we don't really know what we're doing. But if you go back and listen to it, you can listen for your vocabulary, if you can add anything, you can check on your grammar, see if you missed anything. Same with your pronunciation. You might even notice that maybe you didn't say some words very clearly. This one's easier said than done. Expect the unexpected, but don't panic. This is just one tip I just want to get to before we go on into the rest of our speaking practice, is just pay attention to the grammar and tenses of your answers. Sometimes the question will give you those big clues of what the examiner is expecting. So why do people get married? That depends on what you say. So you might keep it pretty simple present tense. You might talk about what people used to do about marriage, what they do now. So then you might change tenses. But something like, should computers and robots replace teachers in the future? Well, they're going to be expecting you to answer, using tenses in talking about future. It doesn't mean that you might not add in some other tenses, but there should be some future tenses in there. And I'll just show you one more example. Do you think that children do less sport and exercise than in the past? So again, they're going to expect you to be able to use the past tenses and present tenses comfortably. All right, to switch back and forth as you need to. So that's just something to keep an eye on. And I know this probably sounds very obvious, but when people get nervous, all right, it's easy for grammar to go out the window. Right? So it's just that kind of preparing yourself, that some questions have more expectations about what tenses you're going to try to use. Okay. All right, wonderful. Just a couple of things here. How to extend your answers. This might not be helpful for those of you that are already quite advanced, but for anyone that is more beginner, intermediate, these are just some simple things you could do to help you with, really with any part of the test. Just explaining why, whatever statement you make, whatever opinion you have, if you just say why you believe that, and give some examples, you're pretty much done. That's all you really need to do. But you have other options. Adding, combining ideas together so they're not short sentences, make some longer sentences. Contrast, so offer an opposing view. You don't need to do that every time, but you could do it to give you, extend your answers a bit longer. Using frequency, it's just a different way, an easy way to extend your answer. You say, oh, before lockdown, I always went to the coffee shop every day, but now I never go to the coffee shop. But in the future, I hope I will be able to go most of the time, occasionally. Yeah, something like that. So talking about the past, looking to the future. So in any of your answers, some of them might not ask for the past or the future, but you could add this information in if it will help you to make your answer longer. So people might ask you, the examiner might ask you something about what hobbies are common in your country. What hobbies do other people do? So not what you do, but what are the most popular hobbies in Vietnam? So you could talk about, well, now many people like to watch video games, but maybe in the past, people used to do more sport, outdoor activity, something like that. You can make up anything. But talking about the past or thinking of what might happen in the future, always a good way to help you extend your answer, just make it longer. We're just trying to think of easy things to do that will work in many situations to help you make your answer longer if that is something that you are struggling with. Okay, so all of this will stay on the Padlet so you can refer to it at any time. Wonderful. All right. And speculate. Guess, have an idea. I get a lot of students just get really stuck and they just don't know what to say. And so I have to tell them this. So I have an example of a student who got a topic, something about, it's on the board, why or how would children benefit from art classes? And he told me, I hate children. I don't even remember being a child. None of my friends or family have children. I don't spend any time with kids. I just have nothing to say. I said, that's okay. I said, you might not have any contact with children now, but you could still have a guess of how this could be good. Think of why would it be good for anyone? All right, art classes might encourage creativity for anyone, not just children. Art classes might help people relax, express their ideas, give them something to do to take a break from technology. Even though the question is about children, if you don't know children, you know other humans, and you can use those answers for the children as well. So you would have some ideas of how, even if you think, I don't know anything, you just make some suggestions. You're like, I'm not sure, but maybe, perhaps, I think that it could be that kids might spend too much time playing video games. So art classes might help them develop some other skills, something like that. Okay, so these are some things. One other tip for you, if you haven't thought of it, use COVID-19 as inspiration. There's a very high probability that there'll be more questions relating to COVID-19 generally. IELTS is supposed to be quite topical and talk about things that are current. So COVID-19 is very current, but it could be an easy way for you to extend your answer. Like when you get asked about hobbies or the most common hobbies of your country, a more general question, you can easily talk about, well, now people's hobbies are hanging out online because they can't go out and do the sports and do the coffee shop meetups that they used to do. So COVID is actually a great way to help you extend your answer. There's lots of things you could compare what life was like before, now, after COVID. And don't forget paraphrasing. Paraphrasing your BFF. Paraphrasing, as some of you would know well if you've been studying IELTS for a long time, so important for all parts of IELTS: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So for speaking, getting those synonyms, making sure that you can talk about things in different ways and play to your strengths. Set yourself up for success, right? So if you get a topic and it's easier for you to talk about an opinion that's different from what you really believe, it's okay. The examiner is not going to know what you really believe, but you should choose what is going to be easier for you to answer, that you have more vocabulary, more examples that you could give. All right. And just one last tip before we get into our breakout rooms again is I had a student recently who was stuck. His question was, what have most people or many people done? What have they done to stay healthy during the COVID-19 lockdown? And he was like, I don't know. I don't know what other people are doing. I haven't been reading the news. I haven't been keeping in touch with many friends. I don't know what other people are doing. And so I said, well, what about you? What have you been doing? So he told me he'd been cooking a lot, learning new recipes, doing yoga. I said, that's it. Use that. But you say this, most people in Vietnam have been cooking a lot, learning new recipes, taking up yoga. You can use your personal experience to talk about more generally for inspiration. The examiner is not going to research to see, is it true? Did most people in Vietnam learn how to make something new? They don't care, but that your experience can still help you when you're trying to think of what to talk about generally. All right, everyone, you get the gist. I have many other tips and information on this Padlet, but I'm looking at the time and I'll be devastated if we don't get back into our breakout rooms and give us time to practice together. So as you can see, we have many questions here, and that's great. I see some of you have already started picking some other ones, which is fantastic. So what I invite you to do now is I'm going to reopen the rooms, have a look, and pick some questions that you would like to discuss, okay? If it's easy for you and you want to give some longer answers, go for it. If they're challenging for you, you can brainstorm some ideas as a team. If you want to share your ideas on the board, you can. If not, no worries. It's more important that you get a chance to practice together, share some ideas. If you have any questions about any of these things, feel free to write a note on the Padlet. I will read through all the comments. So if you have any questions about any of these examples, you can ask me anything you want. Vocabulary, grammar, anything, any questions you have, feel free to ask me. So obviously we're not going to have time to go through them all, but pick some that look interesting to you. There's challenging ones if you want challenging, maybe some easier ones if you need something more gentle. And yes, feel free, any questions you have. If you have general questions, you can come over here to the end of the board. All right, questions from participants. So if you have any other questions, you can click on the little plus sign, add a new question, and feel free if you want to share that. All right, everyone, so is that cool? I'm going to give you time now to go through. You'll be able to access this board anytime, even after today. So it'll still be here if you want to go back and access any of these questions to practice on, as well as the resources. All right, I'm going to open the breakout rooms, let you and your group have a chance to talk some more. And again, any questions you have, pop them in the Padlet and I'll get back to you ASAP. And I'll be popping in the rooms to listen to you as well. I'll see you soon. All right, great. Just seeing if most people are joining. I might pop in to this room.
Oh.
Hi. I'm going to close all the rooms now. All right. Time flies when you're having fun. I got so interested chatting to everyone. Lost track of time. I'm curious, what are you having for lunch today?
Salad.
Hey, very nice. Very nice. Sounds good. You know what I miss? I miss Vietnamese food very much. Said my friends in Australia can't believe it. Like, you live in Vietnam and you can't get Vietnamese food delivered? I was like, not yet, soon, almost. All right, everyone should be back here in just a moment. I just wanted to thank you all. Let's see, where is everybody? Should be here. Breakout rooms should be closed. Okay, here we are. Thank you everyone so much for your time today. Sorry I was naughty. We went over by 2 minutes. I apologize. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your great ideas. The people, those of you that came today, I think you're already on your way, like doing amazing. Some of you are about to take your test soon or will be getting quite closer to that. To those of you at the beginning of your journey, please don't let these questions freak you out, that it will take time. If you're just starting off, it's going to take time. It's a process. But we say practice makes progress. I don't like to say perfect because even a native speaker does not speak perfect English all the time. So that is crazy, but we try to do the best we can. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Please do check the Padlet. If you asked me questions before, I've answered everyone on the board, and this board is available for you to keep on using. But thank you very much. I wish you all the best. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and yeah, good luck to you on whatever the future brings. I hope it's a positive one.
Thank you, Miss Laurie. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye,
Thank you, everyone, for joining this workshop of SEAMEO RETRAC. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mola.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah, have a great weekend.
Hopefully not bored. We have the internet, thank goodness.